The fluorescent lights of O'Hare International Airport hummed with a clinical, relentless energy. It was 5:15 a.m. on a Tuesday, and the security line stretched back toward the check-in counters like a weary, multicolored serpent. Most travelers stood in a daze, clutching their passports and oversized coffee cups, moving an inch every 3 minutes with the collective patience of people who had accepted their fate. Then there was Karen. Karen Sterling did not do lines. She wore a beige trench coat that cost more than most people's monthly rent, a pair of oversized designer sunglasses despite being indoors, and carried a mahogany leather carry-on that she treated like a holy relic. To Karen, the world was a series of obstacles designed by incompetent people specifically to annoy her. "This is unacceptable," she hissed, checking her diamond-encrusted watch for the 10th time in 2 minutes. She wasn't actually late for her flight to Aspen, she just hated being perceived as part of the general public. Ahead of her stood a young mother, Sarah, struggling with a collapsible stroller and a fussy toddler who had just dropped a sticky cracker onto the carpet. Sarah looked exhausted, her eyes rimmed with red, desperately trying to fold the stroller while holding a diaper bag. Karen sighed loudly, a sharp, theatrical sound that cut through the morning haze. "Some of us have places to be," she barked at Sarah's back. "If you can't manage your equipment, you should stay in the family lane." Sarah turned, her face flushing. "I'm so sorry, the family lane is closed for cleaning and he's just a bit cranky." "Your lack of preparation is not my emergency," Karen snapped, stepping forward so aggressively she nearly clipped the toddler's heels with her suitcase. At the front of the line stood Officer Marcus Reed. Marcus had been with the TSA for 15 years. He had seen it all, the smugglers, the nervous flyers, the celebrities, and most frequently the entitled. He had developed a sixth sense for trouble, and right now his internal alarm was blaring a high-pitched Karen alert. Marcus watched as Karen bypassed the retractable belt barriers, unhooking a clip and sliding through a gap to jump ahead of 20 people, including Sarah. "Excuse me, ma'am," Marcus said, his voice calm, steady, and loud enough to stop her in her tracks. "The line starts back there behind the woman with the stroller." Karen didn't even look at him, she kept walking toward the X-ray bins. "I have clear, I have pre-check, and I have a first-class ticket. I don't need to wait behind someone who can't even fold a pram." "Ma'am," Marcus repeated, stepping into her path. He was a large man built like a linebacker, but he wore a polite, immovable smile. "Regardless of your status, you cannot cut the line. Please return to your original position." Karen finally looked at him, pulling her sunglasses down to the bridge of her nose. Her eyes were chips of blue ice. "Do you know who I am? I am a Diamond executive member. I fly through this airport 4 times a month. I pay your salary with my taxes." "I appreciate your contribution to the federal budget, ma'am," Marcus said without missing a beat. "But right now you're a passenger who needs to follow the rules. Back of the line, now." The people nearby began to whisper. A few teenagers in the back started filming on their phones. Karen's face turned a shade of puce that nearly matched her lipstick. She felt the eyes on her, the judgment of the commoners. In her mind, she wasn't the villain, she was the victim of a bureaucratic power trip. "I am not moving," she declared, folding her arms. "Call your supervisor, better yet call the airport manager. I'm friends with the CEO of this airline." "I'll do you one better," Marcus said, his smile widening just a fraction. "I'll give you the VIP treatment since you're in such a hurry." Karen smirked, she thought she had won. Finally, someone with a bit of sense. Marcus gestured to a secondary screening area, a small, glass-walled enclosure off to the side. "Follow me, please, we'll expedite your process away from the crowd." As Karen strutted toward the enclosure, she tossed a triumphant look back at Sarah and the other passengers. She felt like a queen being led to a private viewing. What she didn't realize was that Marcus had just signaled his partner, Officer Jenkins, with a specific hand gesture that meant, "We have a live one, set the clock." Inside the glass room, the atmosphere changed. It was quiet, disturbingly quiet. The hum of the airport was muffled. "Put your bags on the table, please," Marcus said. "I've already been through the metal detector," Karen complained. "Why am I in here?" "Standard procedure for expedited high-priority passengers," Marcus lied smoothly. "We have to ensure your luggage meets the enhanced security protocol. Since you're a Diamond executive, we have to be thorough." Karen beamed. "Well, at least someone recognizes the importance of my time." Marcus put on a pair of fresh blue nitrile gloves. He snapped them against his wrists with a sound like a small gunshot. All right, let's begin. Standard luggage inspection. Every single item. Karen's smile faltered. Every item. For your safety, Marcus said. He opened her mahogany suitcase. With agonizing slowness, he began to remove her belongings. He didn't just look at them, he inspected them like he was searching for a microscopic grain of sand. He took out a silk blouse, unfolded it completely, held it up to the light, shook it gently, and then laid it, not folded but flat, on a cold metal table. What are you doing? That's Chanel, Karen shrieked. Checking for prohibited organic materials in the fibers, Marcus said solemnly. Next came her makeup bag. Marcus opened every single lipstick tube. He twisted them up, peered at the pigment, and twisted them back down. He opened her compact powders and poked them with a sterilized swab. This is ridiculous. I'm going to miss my flight. Ma'am, you said you were in a hurry, so I'm working as fast as the protocol allows, Marcus replied. He then picked up a small bottle of high-end face cream. This is 3.5 ounces, the limit is 3.4. It's $100 cream, it's only 0.1 ounce over. Marcus looked at her with faux sympathy. Rules are rules, Karen. I can either confiscate it or we can perform a chemical density test to see if it qualifies for a medical exemption. The test takes about 20 minutes. Karen growled, a sound of pure animal frustration. Just throw it away, just finish this. Outside the glass, the regular line was moving beautifully. Sarah, the mother with the stroller, had already cleared security and was waving at Marcus through the glass. Marcus gave her a subtle thumbs up. But the lesson wasn't over. Now Marcus said the electronics. He took out her iPad, her laptop, and her Kindle. He didn't just run them through the machine again. He took a specialized cloth and began to wipe down every individual key on her laptop. Is this really necessary? Karen asked, her voice cracking. She was no longer the confident queen of the terminal. She looked like a woman who was realizing she had walked into a trap of her own making. Explosive trace detection, Marcus whispered. Very serious business. He then turned his attention to her shoes. Karen was wearing expensive leather loafers. Marcus took a small flashlight and peered into the heel of each shoe for a full minute. He tapped them against the table. He smelled them. Ma'am, is there a reason your left shoe weighs approximately 3 grams more than your right shoe? Karen stared at him, her mouth agape. Because it's a shoe, I don't know. I'll have to run them through the heavy-density scanner, Marcus said. It's in the back room, I'll be right back. No, wait, Karen cried. Just let me go, I'll go back to the regular line, I'll apologize to the lady with the stroller, I'll wait my turn. Marcus paused, his hand on the door handle. He turned back, his expression softening just enough to show he was human but remaining firm enough to show he was in charge. The thing about airport security, Karen, is that it's a community. We're all trying to get somewhere. Some are going to funerals, some are going to weddings. That woman you insulted, her husband is deployed and she's flying solo with a toddler to see her sick mother. She doesn't have a first-class ticket, but she has something you seem to have misplaced: basic human decency. Karen went quiet, the anger drained out of her, replaced by a stinging, hot sense of shame. For the first time in years, someone had held up a mirror to her behavior and she didn't like the reflection. I didn't know, she whispered. You didn't care, Marcus corrected her. He didn't take the shoes to the back room. Instead, he started neatly and surprisingly efficiently placing her items back into her suitcase. He folded the Chanel blouse with a precision that would have made a tailor proud. You aren't going to miss your flight, Marcus said, glancing at the clock. In fact, you have exactly 40 minutes, plenty of time to grab a coffee and maybe think about how you want to treat the gate agents. He zipped the mahogany bag shut and handed it to her. Am I free to go? She asked, her voice small. You are, but Karen's. She looked up. The VIP treatment is a one-time offer. Next time, stay behind the yellow line like everyone else. Karen took her bag and walked out of the enclosure. She didn't strut, she didn't look at her watch, she walked toward her gate with her head down. As she passed a trash can, she saw a discarded coffee cup and a few napkins on the floor. Normally she would have stepped over them or complained to a janitor. Instead, she paused, picked them up and placed them in the bin. An hour later, Marcus was on his break in the staff lounge. His partner, Jenkins, walked in, laughing. Man, you really gave her the works. The chemical density test on the face cream, that was a masterpiece. Marcus sipped his lukewarm coffee. Sometimes people forget that the world doesn't rotate around their zip code. She just needed a little reminder that time moves at the same speed for everyone. Think she learned anything? Jenkins asked. Marcus thought about the way she had picked up the trash on her way out. Maybe the airport has a way of stripping people down to who they really are. I just helped her find her manners under all that Chanel. Back at gate B12, Karen sat in the boarding area. She saw Sarah, the mother from the line, sitting a few rows away. The toddler was finally asleep in the stroller. Karen reached into her bag and found a sealed box of expensive Belgian chocolates she had bought as a gift for her host in Aspen. She stood up, walked over, and quietly placed the box on the seat next to Sarah. "For the plane ride," Karen whispered, "you're doing a great job." Before Sarah could respond, Karen turned and walked away. She didn't need a thank you. She didn't need to be first in line. For the first time in a long time, she was content just to be one of the many, waiting her turn in the long, complicated journey of getting where she needed to go. She had tried to cut the line and avoid the wait, but in the end, the delay was exactly what she needed. Karen had been given a lesson she'd never forget, not about security protocols or liquid limits, but about the weight of the words we choose and the value of the people we walk past. As the gate agent announced the start of boarding, Karen stood up. She didn't rush. She didn't push. She waited for her group to be called, standing patiently behind a college student with a heavy backpack and a man with a cane. She was just another traveler, and for the first time, that was more than enough.